Hello everybody, I am Mike from SurgTech Academy, and today I'm going to discuss and demonstrate the opening of surgical supplies. Opening surgical supplies is the most fundamental and crucial skill in surgery. We practice this skill in lab as students from day one and perform it countless times a day in our careers. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to open a surgical pack, a sterile basin, a Raft Instrument Set, a rigid container instrument set, a gown and glove on the Mayo stand, and a gown and glove on the back table. Now, there are a couple of things to remember before opening supplies. First, be sure to perform a basic hand wash. And second, ensure you have proper attire on. Make sure you have scrubs, scrub jacket, name badge, bonnet, mask, and shoe covers should all be worn. Because of academic purposes and because my lab is like 100 degrees, I am not going to be wearing any of those things. You also want to make sure that you have all your furniture present. Make sure that you have a Mayo stand, a back table, and a ring stand. And make sure that they are all arranged at least 12 to 18 inches apart and away from adjacent walls. You will want to have some space to maneuver around. Now, the order of how we open supplies is also important. AST has a policy statement saying that the recommended sequence is back table, basin set, small wrapped items like gowns and small peel packs, and then suture. I like this method where the back table supplies are last, because if I accidentally contaminate the pack when I open the basin or one of the instrument sets, it doesn't sacrifice a ton of expensive supplies that were on the table. Now, along with the basin set, we will also be opening our rigid container and our Raft Instrument Set. So let's go ahead and start by checking package integrity. I'm going to start with the pack, and I'm looking for rips, stains, or wetness. And I'm also checking for expiration date. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is remove the dust cover. Okay, I want to orient the pack in the center of the back table and position myself directly in front of the pack. Next, I'm going to break the seal of the pack and grasp the top fold with my right hand and extend away from me. All right. Next, I'm going to open the second fold by grasping under this cuff and pulling toward me. All right, third, I have to go to the lateral side of whichever cuff is on top. The right-hand cuff is next, so I'm going to go to the right-hand side of the table. I want to make sure I always stay 12 to 18 inches away. I'm going to grab it with both hands about 1 inch inside the cuff. Go and throw that gown down there and pull. I'm going to make sure that I do not touch the drape, and I'm going to make sure that nothing inside the pack moves. I'm going to remember to stay at least 12 to 18 inches away and go to the other side. Same sequence. 2 hands, 1 inch pulling and dropping. Now, really the only way to mess this up is if when I'm pulling, I move the drape and pull the drape from the other side. Essentially what I did was I took an unsterile part of the pack and part of the drape and moved it to a sterile area. So make sure you don't tug on the drape. All right, hey, congratulations. We just successfully opened a pack. Now, next, sterile basin. So with the sterile basin, again, I have to inspect for package integrity, and I also have to see that the steam autoclave indicator is changed color, and it has. So with the basin set, I'm going to break the seal. All right, right or left hand, it doesn't matter. I'm going to move away from me. I'm going to check the next cuff. The next cuff is the right hand cuff. Pull away from me. Left hand cuff, pull laterally and away from me. Last cuff, toward me. Awesome. Next, we have a Raft Instrument Set. Now the Raft Instrument Set is exactly like the basin set. Again, we check package integrity. I'm looking underneath especially, making sure that the autoclave steam indicator has been changed. I'm going to break the tape. First one is away from me. Right-hand side is the second cuff, laterally and away from me. Now here where we have to actually demonstrate some surgical conscience. I want to make sure that when I pull laterally, I don't contaminate my sterile basin. So I'm going to grab with my left hand and pull tight down below to prevent contamination. And just like with the basin set, this last one comes toward me. And next we have the rigid container. A couple of things about the rigid container that I want my students to remember. The first is I want to make sure that the steam sterilize indicator is black and that they cannot pull it through. Once they've shown me those two things, next we pop the lid, move straight up and straight away toward me. Sometimes I see people pop the lid and then flip it. This is a bad thing because what we've just done is have had an unsterile item exposed to a sterile item. So make sure that after you lift the lid, just come straight towards. I'm going to put it under the table. Next, we're going to open the gown and gloves on the back table and gown and gloves on the Mayo stand. Now, just like everything else, I want to visually inspect it. Wetness, stains, rips, holes, and tears, and expiration date. We're good on the gown. Now with the gown in my dominant hand, I want to stand about 3 to 5 feet away. And with the dominant hand, with my left hand, I'm going to pull the first tab up and away, and I'm going to put it underneath my pinky. All right, the second and third tabs are both pulled laterally. Pull laterally, tight and under my thumb. Third fold, pulling it laterally, tight and under my thumb. You want to make sure that there's no extra fabric around the gown, otherwise it'll be super hard to flip. And then the last tab I'm going to hang on to, and onto the back table it goes. Woohoo! Then you get to celebrate that you got it on the back table. All right, then we have our surgical gloves. Again, wetness, stains, holes, tears. Expiration date is good. There's a couple of different methods to opening these. So the method I'm going to show you first is the way I teach my students. The method I'm going to show you second is the one I most often see in surgery. So with as much thumb and hand you can get on the package, never moving my hands, I'm going to pull about halfway down. Being sure not to reposition my hands at this point, I'm going to raise my right arm. Now from this point, I'm going to pull down the rest of the way, step to my back table, and open my gloves. All right, so here, pull it down and step. Now this is okay. I did break the edge of my back table, but since the wrapper's covering my arm, it's considered sterile. Again, wetness, stains, holes, or tears, expiration date. Now this is the method I see most often people doing, and I see a lot of contamination with this. I see people putting their arms over their back table all the time. We cannot do that, folks. So with as much thumb as I can, I'm going to pull once again about halfway. From this point, I need to flip the gloves onto the back table. All right, so we're going to attempt this. It's much harder. Flip, pull, and flip. And I made it. Woohoo! Again, I think that is much harder than pulling it and protecting your arm. All right, next, gown and gloves on the back are on the Mayo stand. So again, I'm inspecting it. Expiration date, we're good. I'm going to set it on the edge of the Mayo stand. So just like everything else, first tab is away from me. Second tab, lateral. All right, third tab, lateral. Now we have to really watch our surgical conscience on this because the wrapper likes to flip up and theoretically wants to contaminate our gown. There we go. And then lastly, toward me. And it's okay to touch the tabs. There you go. Because they're underneath the level of the Mayo stand, so that's okay. Then we have the gloves, the dreaded gloves. All right, again, I'm looking for wetness, stains, holes, and tears. Expiration date is good. Thumb as much as I can over the package, about halfway. Right arm goes up, and I missed. At this point, that's okay. We would go and get another pair of gloves and try it again. Students, I want you to remember that every single day you're going to contaminate something. So, hey, that's a good demonstration. Even teachers contaminate something. So, I'm Mike from SurgTech Academy, hoping you have a great rest of the day in surgery. and reminding you to be a superstar in your OR.